Welcome to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat and NBA content. My name is Amir. So, doing a quick live episode to talk about the current state of the affairs for the Miami Heat. And it's a huge offseason for this Miami Heat team. And they are going to make some changes. Pat Riley, in his end of season press conference, said that change is necessary. And if there is a superstar available, if there's a trade available for an all-star, the Miami Heat will pursue that. And if they have to also make some minor moves, referencing to when the Miami Heat did this in 2020 during the bubble season when they went to the finals, they made small moves in acquiring Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, and Solomon Thomas. And he said that marginal moves like that perhaps is how we can also improve this roster. And currently within the landscape of the East in the playoffs right now, Jason Tatum just tore his Achilles, unfortunately. So he is going to be out for anywhere for 9 to 12 months rehabbing. And so he could miss the majority of next season or the entirety of the next season. And so that kind of opens up the door for the Miami Heat and other teams in the East to take advantage and become a top seed in the East. I don't know if the Miami Heat can do that with the current roster. So they do have to make some changes in order to improve. But still, losing Jason Tatum's huge. And also, next season, the Boston Celtics are going to be paying a huge luxury tax, and they have the most expensive roster in NBA history. So they're not going to be able to retain this team, and they're going to have to move pieces. They're going to have to trade like Porzingis if they can, Drew Holiday, um, even even Jalen like might get traded. Like who knows? Like they have a big decision they need to make this offseason, but the Celtics are screwed. The Milwaukee Bucks are screwed. Giannis is all but gone, in my opinion. There's no way they can build a contender around Giannis, especially because Dame also tore his Achilles, unfortunately, in the playoffs. He is much older than Jason Tatum, so he is definitely going to be out all season next year. His career might be over, which would be sad. But the Milwaukee Bucks were the 5th seed. The Celtics were the 2nd seed. So those two teams are effectively screwed. The Milwaukee Bucks do not control their picks until 2031, I believe. So they are in trouble. And we saw the Cavs obviously lose to the Pacers 4-1. So they need to rethink and reshape their roster potentially because Donovan Mitchell is not good enough to carry this team past the second round, even in the East. So Pat Riley, is probably smiling, thinking that like we can actually build a roster potentially this offseason, make some moves, and compete around Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware and our younger pieces. So anyway, this season sucked in general for the Miami Heat. They finished 37 and 45, which was terrible. And we know that the draft, which is going to be taking place in June, they have the number 20 pick from the Golden State Warriors. The free agent class for the Miami Heat, Duncan Robinson has an early termination option. So he has a partial guaranteed contract. I believe he will make a full 19 million if the Miami Heat don't release him or waive him by July 8th, I believe. Alec Burks is also a free agent. We signed him to a veteran minimum. I would be okay bringing him back. Davion Mitchell, who I believe the Miami Heat need to re-sign. He's going to get some sort of pay raise. I think he was making $5 or $6 million this season. He is definitely going to want a 3-year, maybe $30 million contract. And Drew Smith, unfortunately, he tore his Achilles and he missed the season this year. And he's also a free agent. Same with Isaiah Stevens, Josh Christopher, and Kashad. 3 guys are G League guys who basically didn't even play at all this season. So that's kind of the state of the roster in terms of free agency. But in general, this last season was a shit show. It was a roller coaster headlined by Jimmy Butler and all of his suspensions and the midseason trade. So that resulted in the Miami Heat having a tough season, and they got swept for the second time in the playoffs since Eric Spoelstra took over back in 2008, and the Cavs destroyed us behind Ty Jerome, who looked like a freaking scrub in the second series against the Pacers. So he is officially a Miami Heat scrub killer in the playoffs. And yeah, the Miami Heat have been eliminated for the second straight time in the first round. Last season, we got destroyed 4-1 against the Boston Celtics, yet we didn't have Jimmy Butler, of course. Terry Rozier was out, and Duncan Robinson was banged up as well. So tough season. And after the Miami Heat traded Jimmy Butler, the Heat went 12-21, and they ranked bottom 10 in offensive efficiency in that span. They were 14-26 in clutch games. So 3-12 after the Jimmy Butler trade. And they lost a league high 9 games when leading by at least 15 points. It was just a tough season. My boy, Coach Gio's in the chat says, bring back Davion, try to get Giannis and pivot to KD if that fails. Use expirings to try and get quality role guys like Sexton, Bruce Brown, Gary Trent Jr., and Steven Adams. For sure. I agree with that. I think that's awesome. Van Lee, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. So anyway, despite all of that, there were some positives. Obviously, Tyler Hero played really well, was a first-time All-Star. He didn't play good in the playoffs, so that's his knock. But Tyler won the three-point contest, had career highs in scoring, rebounding, assists, and was a first-time All-Star. Carried this offense. Without Tyler Hero, this team was cooked, and we would have lost way more games. The only problem was we had no help on offense, and literally the Cavs schemed to put pressure on Tyler Hero, and he wasn't able to handle that pressure. And hopefully he can get better next season. Bam Adebayo had an up and down year. He did better after the All-Star break, but he had a down year. Kel'el Ware, one of the positives was at the 15th pick, we got a steal. Like, he wasn't in the rotation at the beginning of the year, but finally he was able to play, get some good experience. And we have a good foundation with some young pieces. But again, here's the thing. The Miami Heat will have some flexibility moving forward, more so than they did in the past. They have some tradable contracts like Andrew Wiggins, like Terry Rozier, like Duncan Robinson. They also have expiring contracts with Rozier and Duncan Robinson. And so they have 3 tradable first-round picks, which is huge. But yeah, the whole Butler trade fiasco was bad, but it also put the Miami Heat below the first apron. So that's good. We have the ability to re-sign Davion Mitchell. Even though, yeah, we're below the first apron, I don't think if we re-sign him for 10 million or 11 million, we'll still be below the first apron. And the Miami Heat definitely want to be outside of the apron so they can have some more flexibility. Miami can also use up to 5.6 million of their non-tax mid-level exception and not trigger the first apron hard cap as well. So they also have the veteran minimum and 3 trade exceptions. I think it was from Thomas Bryant, Jay Rich, and I forgot the other person. So we'll see what happens. But we, as a front office, need to prioritize adding depth, two-way players, players that can score. We need, obviously, a backup big. We need a point guard, a starting point guard, because I think Davion is not a starting point guard. Van Lee says, hey, Amir, have you seen the reports that Spurs will be keeping Harper? If you are Fox, do you sign an extension in San Antonio? You have to, for sure. I mean, he wanted to go play with Wemby. So that video said that they expect Castle, Dillon, and Fox to be able to play together somehow. But yeah, I don't think Fox would go there without any intention to re-sign or sign an extension. But anyway, this offseason is going to be huge for the Miami Heat. And to Gio's point, there are some guys that we could trade for potentially, like maybe an Andrew Wiggins, who is under contract next season for around $30 million, but then he has a player option after that. So he has 2 years on his contract. And hopefully we can trade that $30 million for a Kevin Durant, ideally, or someone like a Giannis, of course, which I don't think we have any shot to get him unless we trade Bam, and unless the Bucks absolutely covet Bam as the centerpiece. 3 picks, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, throw in some young pieces, and who knows? Anything's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. But either way, um, the Miami Heat do have an opportunity to add to this roster, and trading Wiggins, like I mentioned, for two guys who are making maybe like 15 million each, maybe like that Bruce Brown type of guy that Gio mentioned, or a Colin Sexton. Getting one of those types of players would be huge. Getting a Cam Johnson, I think, from the Nets, if he's available. He's only making like 21 mil per season. So adding him to this team would add scoring, would add a huge um, defensive addition to this team as one of the best wing 3-and-D type players out there. Having $9 million or more to match Wiggins' salary and adding another strong piece off the bench who can score, I think would be good. But the Miami Heat have to be patient so far this offseason. But they definitely need to make some moves. And so these are some guys that are hypothetically rumored to potentially be available. And if any of them are available, I think the Miami Heat should pounce on these types of players. And again, I'm not saying they're going to be available, but Ja Morant is a name that has been mentioned that could be moved. I don't think Memphis will move him because no one wants to go to that small market team. So they don't really get folks through free agency. So it's going to have to be through trade essentially or through the draft. But no one is going to say, I want to play exclusively or specifically for the Memphis Grizzlies. But if he does become available, Ja is an explosive playmaker. As we all know, he played 50 games only this season. So the knock on him is off court behavior and all that crap. But he has been injury prone also in his short career. But he played 50 games last season, a down year from a few seasons ago, but 23.2 points per game, still solid. 4.1 rebounds per game, still a really good, efficient playmaker. 7.3 assists per game. Shot 45% from the field, 31% from three, which is not great. But Ja is still a two-time All-Star. He was the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2022. He was the NBA's most improved player. He was the NBA All-Star Game MVP. He's been on the All-Rookie first team. So he has the accolades, but why does he fit with this Miami Heat team? Offense, his playmaking. Ja is one of the most dynamic point guards in the NBA. He's known for his elite ability to finish at the rim, and he has explosive athleticism and great finishing ability. We had no rim pressure really this season. We don't have the best three-level scorers. Tyler Hero dramatically improved as a three-level scorer this season, even though at the beginning of the season he wasn't really focused on mid-range until they were running him off the three-point line where he had to incorporate that. Also in the playoffs, he was shooting more because in the playoffs, typically players, focus more on that mid-range style game. But his ability to finish at that rim is huge. He needs to improve his three-point shooting, but that's important. Playmaking, like I mentioned, 7.3 assists per game last season. He is capable of creating for others. So this would alleviate some of the playmaking burden for Bam and Tyler Hero. If we can keep them, I doubt that we could get Ja Morant without trading Tyler Hero. So again, I don't know if the Miami Heat would want to do that. If you could pair them together, I mean, I don't know how they're going to work as a backcourt duo, but it could be interesting. His potential on defense too, I think in a defensive focused system like the Miami Heat's, he's not a lockdown defender, but he has quick hands. He has a decent defensive IQ. And again, like I said, playing under Eric Spoelstra's defensive scheme, he could help like disrupt passing lanes, get steals, help play, force the Miami Heat to play a little bit faster in transition, which I think could pair well with like a Niko Jovic and some of the younger guys on our roster. He also can bring leadership. He is an alpha type of personality, so he does have a competitive spirit, not like Russ per se, but kind of like that Russell Westbrook attitude. So I think he could fit into Miami Heat's culture, and I think the Miami Heat need to definitely add him if it's possible. But what would it take? So again, Memphis would definitely want a mix of young talent and future assets if they're going to trade their best player. So a potential trade again would have to probably involve Tyler Hero, probably would have to involve Nico, Jaime Jaquez, multiple first round picks. So the likelihood of this, probably not, because I don't think they would trade him. This player, though, in fact, I think could be traded. But again, you never know. Zion Williamson, another guy who has been decimated by injuries, someone I wouldn't want. I don't think him and Bam, I mean, I would still do it because he's obviously a very talented player, but it depends on at what cost. But I don't think him and Bam would pair extremely well. So Zion only played 30 games last season, but he did average 24.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists, shot 56.7% from the field. 3-point shooting was terrible, 29.8%. He is also two-time All-Star. He was also an NBA All Rookie First Team player. He does fit in with this Miami Heat. Again, the Miami Heat could leverage him because he's a dominant interior scorer. Zion's 56.7% shooting from the field last season speaks about his ability to dominate in the paint. So he'd provide Miami with that immediate impact and force inside, because we all know that Bam Adebayo doesn't have that post-up game. Bam Adebayo is more of a finesse type player. He's trying to shoot threes. He's been focusing more on that mid-range game. And so this could free up Bam Adebayo, I think, to help him focus a little more on defense and rebounding. And Bam would have to continue to shoot better from three and spread the floor so Zion could operate in the paint. The other area where he can fit in with this Miami Heat team is rebounding and a little bit of rim protection. So 7.2 rebounds per game would help this Miami Heat team, which they've struggled mightily on the rebounding side. I think they were 26th in the NBA in rebounding, which is just horrible. So I think that is something that could fit well, pairing next to Bam Adebayo. It would essentially create a dynamic front court, but again, it could be clunky. I don't think it would work. But they both are guys who are decent ball handlers who can get to the rim. So it would provide a lot of rim pressure. But again, Zion is going to clog up that paint on the offensive end. So again, I don't know how good of a fit that is next to Bam Adebayo. So the biggest issue with him, though, is his health. He has not been able to stay healthy. He's played 70 games, I think, once, but he's literally always hurt. So I don't know what it would cost to get him. But again, they're going to ask for Tyler Hero. They're going to ask for Nico. They're going to ask for first-round picks. Are the Miami Heat willing to do that? The player that I think is the most likely to get traded to the Miami Heat would be Kevin Durant. Because of the Giannis sweepstakes, I think every team is going to focus on that, which means one of the teams that could have been a suitor for Kevin Durant can now be out of the sweepstakes, and Kevin Durant could possibly end up on the Miami Heat, which would be huge. He is obviously older. He's 37 years old, so he's an aging superstar. Pat Riley mentioned in his press conference that LeBron James at age 40 is still dominating. There are players out there that are older that are still great players that he would obviously add to this roster. So Kevin Durant played 41 games, averaged like 26.6 points per game, 6 assists, 4.2 assists, shot 53% from the field, shot 37.8% from three, which is amazing. So he is still a bucket even at this age. He's a two-time NBA champ, two-time NBA Finals MVP. He's 2014 NBA MVP. He's a 15-time All-Star, 4-time NBA scoring champion, 11-time All-NBA player, Olympic gold medalist. Like, he would definitely help this Miami Heat team, especially now looking at how cooked the East is with Jason Tatum's injury, with Dame's injury, with Giannis potentially getting traded probably to one of the Texas teams. Perhaps, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the Spurs, maybe the Rockets. So this can open up the doors because, yes, the Knicks are good, but I think they're beatable. Pacers are beatable. The Cavs are definitely beatable. So I think the Miami Heat can leapfrog a few teams. The Magic are going to be better when they're healthy next year. They dealt with injuries, and they had Suggs out, and Mo Wagner was out. So they can add some pieces to that roster as well, and they can improve too. So I think Miami and Orlando have a lot to gain. I think the Bulls are not going to be that great. They're still young. The Hawks are going to suck. They'll be a little bit better when Jalen Johnson's back because he was out for the season last year. So this is a huge opportunity to add Durant's elite scoring to this team. He remains one of the best shooters, scorers in the NBA. I think he was top 6 in points per game last season. So his ability to score from anywhere is going to be huge. He's going to be a player whose game ages well because he doesn't rely on athleticism. He's basically 7 feet tall, so he can pull up and rise over tons of players and get his shot off whenever he wants. He's still shooting at an extremely high clip from three, Tyler Hero can take some pressure off of him, and vice versa. Kevin Durant would definitely take pressure off of Tyler Hero, and I think pairing him next to Bam would be huge because of his ability to spread the floor. So he would definitely make this Miami Heat's team more dangerous. Another reason is playoff proven. He's an NBA champion. Obviously, it took him going to the freaking Warriors, a 70 freaking 2-win team, the team that beat them after they were up 3-1 in the previous postseason. So still, he was the MVP, the best player on those Golden State Warriors teams. He has a proven track record, winning championships. He is a very good defender. He's probably not going to be as good anymore at this age, but he can guard multiple positions. He improved drastically in his career as a defender. So he could provide the Miami Heat some rim protection, some versatility, and that can add a different dimension to this Miami Heat's defense playing next to Bam Adebayo and a Haywood Highsmith and a Davion Mitchell. That could be huge. The fit with him and Bam, I think, would be great and would be super complimentary. And also, again, would give Tyler Hero the ability to have more space because there's going to be more eyeballs on Kevin Durant. So I think those are the players to focus on. Trae Young, also someone, if he's available, elite playmaker. He played 76 games last season, 24 points per game, 11.6 assists. He can unlock Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware, one of the best playmaking guards ever. I hate him. I don't personally want him, but I would take him. You can't have Tyler Hero and him as a backcourt duo because they would get hunted big time. There's no chance that could work, but that is another player that could be a fit for this Miami Heat team or someone that could be available hypothetically this offseason. But anyway, that's all I have for this live episode. It's going to be an interesting offseason once the draft comes up. Hopefully the Miami Heat can get a solid pick at the 20th spot. And then, we need to make some sort of moves, whether it's a big move or whether it's a smaller move, like adding a Colin Sexton, a Bruce Brown. Steven Adams could be a good fit. There are a lot of good free agents out there that could be affordable. There's Larry Nance Jr. There's Kevin Looney is okay. I mean, you have Andre Drummond, who could be a big, perhaps, that comes off the bench and helps. You have other players, Trey Mann, who's solid as a backup point guard, Dorian Finney-Smith, Bruce Brown Jr., Brook Lopez is old, but Bobby Portis. There's a ton of guys that we could possibly add for good deals on this roster. So anyway, that's all I have for this live. And yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. And thank you for watching.